Shalom. I want to bring a lesson of give all praise and all glory. And Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Akakrash. Double blessing and honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Just gonna play this clip. And this video may seem messed up because I recorded it and the whole lesson is saved, but I just want to add the first clip of the lesson to it. So yeah, man. Just wanted to declare fair use under Copyright Act in 1976. Fair use. This video is not monetized. I'm not making any monetary gain off this. It's just for educational purposes only. So I'm going to go ahead and play that right now.
Those files that I shared with you, they did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over an ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart, they fuse back together, they'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it. Tell you.
So I'm going to go ahead and try to get these precepts again that I was reading. I just got Revelation 12:7. It says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven." And the dragon that it's talking about is the revived Roman Empire, which we are living in right now, which consists of NATO and the EU, along with Babylon the Great, which is the whore that rides the beast. And then to continue on, it says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth." His angels were cast out with him, right? Because as you'll see on my next clip, or the second part of this lesson, they're going to join in the battle to fight against the Lord, these nations, and they're going to successfully fail. The book of Daniel 12:1, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince was standing for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book." So with that, I'm going to go ahead and add this first part of the lesson on, and it'll go to this part that I was reading earlier, which is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. We can start at verse 4. "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." We're just talking about Yahweh Shai and the four winds, meaning all over. "But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region and place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not." Ezra was just describing how large the chariot was that he seen. He described it as being a mountain. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him or so afraid, and yet there's fight. Right, so the Lord's going to put the Spirit on them to fight, whether they want to or whether they don't. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, because our blessing is not carnality, it's spirituality. And our weapons of war are not carnal. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, meaning he vaporized their ass, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him and other peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. I think that word might be afraid. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast shewed thy servant wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Shew me now yet the interpretation of this dream. So this was a vision that Ezra's had a long time ago, and through the Spirit we are able to with the discernment and understanding, break this down into today's terms, and know that this is a later prophecy that's going to come to pass. It says, For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days which we're in now, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils, meaning hard times, hard to do, and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision shall I shew thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith towards the Almighty. Know this, therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same is he whom the Most High Power, the highest, hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. Right? That's signaling how shall I come and do save the hopeful elect, the elect of Israel, the 144,000, as well as the innumerable multitude from the evils that rule this world. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. He shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Right, because like I said, our weapons are not carnal, man, they're spiritual. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, when I shew thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest, as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come and overcome him by fighting. Like I said, they'll be fighting in their own countries, in their own lands. They'll be fighting against each other. But when Yahweh Christ those clouds, they go all join up together in a battle to come against him, and are going to fail. But he shall stand upon the top of the mount of Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be shewed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. He shall destroy them without labor, by the law which is like unto fire. Right? The Lord's gonna make a quick and speedy riddance of the wicked. That's why all your plagues shall come in 1 hour, man. Says, roughly paraphrasing, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, says those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. Just talking about the Assyrian captivity which the northern kingdom was in. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land, right, the natives. But they took this counsel, Salaki. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they will leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through the country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsaret. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace, but those that be left behind of thy people, and they that are found within my borders. Now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. And then shall he shew them great wonders. Those the times we're in now, man. So just a little background, just explaining to y'all, you know what I'm saying? That's the last prophecy, man. Like the end of prophecies that are gonna come to pass, you know what I'm saying? World War III, the great battle in heaven. You know what I'm saying? The nuclear destruction. Right. I'm going to close it off there, though. Lord willing, the lesson was edifying to those out there listening and watching. Call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Kakurash. Double blessing and honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And until next time, I say Shalom Israel, Shalom. And as always, we're one day closer to the kingdom, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Shalom.